We'll see. Is everybody ready to go? Let's proclaim the greatest radio show.
Welcome, fans, to another episode of The Spread. I'm your host, Jim Sella, in studio with J-Dash and JK47. It's not a very good day here in Spread Studios after a Steelers loss to the New England Patriots, although we all did predict the Steelers to lose. Dash, I think you were probably, I would say, the closest on the score, because I think you're the only one who didn't pick like a 60-55 route, something like that. Didn't even go over. I was pretty shocked. I thought for sure it would go over the 51.5.
Yeah, we said over was a lock.
Yeah, and that was at least the one thing you agreed with us on, but...
Yeah, I had them as 2 touchdowns.
Another thing we said was over under, 3 2-point conversions?
Yeah.
It was definitely under.
Was there any? One?
Yeah, there was one.
One, yeah. But there were 4 missed extra points, not in this game, in the weekend so far in the NFL. So as the year progresses, I mean, teams that are in bad weather, you might see them start to go for it more often. It would have to be really bad weather, though. Something that's going to mix it up.
It's possible. We'll have to see what happens. But, yeah, it definitely has changed with all these missed extra points. There probably wasn't 4 missed extra points all of last season.
I don't think there was. We know all about missed kicks here in Pittsburgh after this week because our kicker, Josh Scobie, I don't want to say he cost us the game, but he cost us a chance at a better score here.
Well,
2 missed field goals. But the biggest thing is they shouldn't even have been field goals. They should have been touchdowns.
Oh, yeah,
we should have gotten them in.
But let's say they are field goals. Well, okay, you kick those 2 field goals, then that last touchdown at the end of the game, you go for 2, and maybe you tie it up. But there's also the possibility that New England went down the field and scored again after that anyways.
Right. I thought the Steelers' defense was going to play, and dare I say this, worse than they actually did. I think New England, they felt comfortable with their lead right near the end of the game, like maybe their last drive, not necessarily before that. So I think they slowed their tempo down a little bit and tried, doesn't try to score, but, control the clock a little more. I think they could have put more points on the board if they wanted, but I also think the Steelers could have put more points on the board. The defense played that bend, don't break all day, except for when we forgot to cover Gronk like 15 times and he went for 850 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I actually heard something today that they were saying that some of the Steelers players didn't know some of the plays that was being called in. So that's actually something to look forward to because maybe they'll get it together here moving forward as well. And let's not forget, this was a very tough matchup for Keith Butler for his very first game in his career, going up against the defending champs, Tom Brady back, obviously not getting suspended. So I see a lot of potential here still, even though, they did get torched in the passing game. There's no question about it.
Well, even if you don't know what the defensive play is, how do you lose track of
the biggest guy on the field?
Yeah, how?
That I don't get.
It's
that's unexcusable, whether you knew the plays or not. The biggest thing, 47, that I heard, I think it was yesterday, the Steelers have been saying all preseason, offseason, whatever, we're going to move into more of a cover 2. It fits what our defensive backs can do better. They barely played any cover 2, if at all, against Brady and the Patriots. Brady kills the cover 2, first of all. So you've seen a lot more man coverage, and they were even talking about this on the B team. That could lead to why the Steelers didn't know what the hell they were doing out there and what plays, because that's not the plays that they were running all preseason, all offseason, and the weeks leading up to this game. They're running all these cover 2s, and then they're asked to play man-to-man, and nobody can cover man-to-man Gronkowski.
I just don't think they were ready. I think they felt like they had more time or something. They were just not ready for this game because, Brandon Boykin, he wasn't terrible in the preseason or anything, so why was he not in this game? Another guy, Dree Archer on the offensive side, they said they were going to get him involved. They didn't. They just never got around to what they wanted to do, it seemed like.
Shamarko Thomas was supposed to be our starting safety going into the season. Will Allen, all of a sudden, right before week 1 happens, is named the starter. Will Allen goes down with a concussion during the game. Who do they bring in? Robert Golden. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
They don't even bring in Shamarko? He's down to 3rd now on the depth chart?
They didn't know their starting corners going into the game, apparently. They just didn't know what was going on. And all that said, they only let up 28 points to the New England Patriots. And we said in the preview that if they let up 30 or less, the Pittsburgh Steelers should win this game, and it's really on the offense to me. I understand the defense didn't look good against the pass or whatever, although they did keep them one-dimensional. Dion Lewis looked pretty good in the run game. He didn't look bad, had 15 carries for 69 yards. But all in all, the Steelers only let up 80 yards rushing for a 3.3 yard average. So they did keep them one-dimensional. it was Tom Brady to Rob Gronkowski was just a little bit too much. But moving forward, man, I'm telling you, I see potential because here's what we face until our Week 11 bye. Colin Kaepernick, Nick Foles, Joe Flacco, Phillip Rivers, Carson Palmer, Alex Smith, Andy Dalton, Derek Carr, and whoever Cleveland's quarterback is.
Is Rivers here or are we there?
We are going cross country.
Ooh, see, that's going to be a scary game for us. I mean, the defense could get it together by then.
I'm not saying we're going to go win all 9 of these games or whatever.
Right.
I'm just saying
out of those ones you mentioned, though, that's who I'm the most scared
our toughest competition already in the first game, in Keith Butler's very first game. I see progression moving forward.
How about the linebackers? I thought they looked okay, at least. Not bad. They didn't look bad. I think Dupree played okay. He only had 1 sack. You can't say he's great because he had 1 sack. I thought Jarvis Jones played a hell of a game. I mean, he played really well against the run, I felt. He got separation from the tackle. He got a little bit of pressure on Brady. I don't think he had any sacks. But Shazier was everywhere. I mean, I don't think you were... We didn't watch a game together, so I don't know if you've seen it. The one play in the backfield, Shazier hit the gap and almost tackled the running back before the quarterback even handed him the football. This guy is special, and it could be the key to this defense getting it turned around towards the end of the season and getting better, because he's not Polamalu, obviously, but he's the only one on our defense that can match possibly the playmaking ability that Polamalu had, and he can be all over the middle of that field in the cover 2 defense that we were supposed to run. You just can't do that against Brady.
I really thought Shazier would be lined up on Gronkowski in this game and be able to cover.
He's not heavy enough from what I'm hearing. I mean, we know how much he weighs, but I heard that's why they didn't line him up one-on-one and they wanted Lawrence Timmons on him more often. But that's a little weird because Timmons is a little older. Not that he's old, but he's not as young as he used to be and as athletic as he used to be. And he had that toe problem all through the preseason.
Another thing is, the Steelers only had 2 sacks in this game, and it was the New England Patriots. I expect them to get more pressure moving forward, especially starting this week against San Francisco. I see them getting more pressure on the quarterback, and that will make your D-backs look a little better as well.
The last thing I want to say about the defense before we talk about the offense is Tom Brady completed 19 straight passes at one point, 3 shy of an NFL record for an in-game completions. You just can't do that. And I know it's Tom Brady, so I'm giving him a little bit of slack. Brady has done stuff like that to everybody, especially the Steelers. He said yesterday, or it might have been this morning, that he noticed right away the Steelers' defense was very confused.
Chaos.
And they had no idea what they were doing. So he was getting the center to snap him the ball like immediately so he could just take advantage of it. But you gotta at least break these passes up. I'm not saying I want him to intercept 10 balls a game or anything. And, it's really hard to get to Brady no matter what. But you cannot let your opposing team's quarterback complete 19 straight passes. That's too much bending. That's like damn near snapping it off without doing it.
The defense could have helped themselves out a little bit, too. Let's not forget that Mike Mitchell forced a fumble near the goal line.
Will Allen just stood there. Maybe he was already concussed.
Listen, that's a huge difference in the game right there.
Yeah.
You recover that ball, and then you only let up 21 points to the New England Patriots, and you forced a huge turnover, and that's really a big difference in this game. And another thing that happened is the first drive in the second half, Edelman made a couple nice catches on that drive, and then they threw it deep down the sidelines to him. They called pass interference on the Pittsburgh Steelers on that play. It was definitely pass interference on Julian Edelman. He pushed off on that play. They threw the flag and called it on the Steelers, and they placed the ball at the 1-yard line. So the New England Patriots ended up getting pretty much a free score there. I think that was the drive that Scott Chandler, who I mentioned in our preview that Tom Brady would probably look for in the red zone, I think that was his 1-yard touchdown. So there's 2 scores right there that you could have kept from happening. One by the refs and one if the defense would have stepped up and recovered that fumble.
47, I forget what the exact number was. It was an absurd percentage, though, of plays where the Patriots used 2 or 3 tight ends as opposed to wide receivers. How has the Patriots over the years been able to evolve their offense, I guess I want to say? Because remember when Brady first came onto the scene, it was dink and dunk to the wide receivers. It was 5 wide all the time. And they weren't great receivers then. How has it changed to this tight end heavy formation, and why can't Pittsburgh stop it?
Lack of quality DBs is what I could sum it up to, and not to mention, sometimes it's the lack thereof of a pass rush. If you're giving him all day to pick that defense apart, obviously, even your best cornerbacks are only going to be able to cover for so long.
I agree.
It's just plain and simple facts right there. Yeah, we did get to him a few times. Maybe we did get a little bit of pressure on him, but the bottom line is it wasn't enough. And whenever you have a player like Gronkowski who can, just due to his massive size, just seem to reach over pretty much anybody, what can you really do?
Before we move on to the offense here real quick, we said a couple things about this defense before going into this game. We said, one, they should be able to stop the run. They did that. We said they need to get pressure on Brady. Jim, that was mostly you. That was your key to victory. And they didn't do enough. No. Obviously not. Now, my key to victory, stop one of Gronk or Edelman. Couldn't do it.
47, do you think that the 3-4 defense is just obsolete against Brady and the Patriots? Because when I watch it, I feel like if you cannot just get consistent pressure with your front four and let everybody else cover, you can't beat them.
The thing is with the 3-4 is you need them 3 down linemen in front. You need them to be occupying these blockers.
Well, I like Hayward and Tuitt, but I'm not huge on McClendon.
I do too, but they're not the massive space occupiers that Big Snack was over the years.
Do you think it's just a matter of scheme where, like, the linebackers, even with the big guys, we still struggled against Brady. They just can't get to him quick enough. The key to the 3-4 is deception. Brady's so smart, he knows who's coming. So when he knows who's coming, he gets that hot read with one of his receivers or tight ends, and they just kind of curl into that zone and sit there. And then he dinks and dunks, and then he hits Gronk over the top when nobody decides to cover him. So I don't know. I think that I like the fact that the Steelers are going to move to a little bit more cover 2 and start trying to use their 4 down linemen more. You don't want to get rid of the linebackers. You drafted all 4 of them in the freaking first round, so they're going to be a big part of your defense. But I don't know. I think we need to learn to play the Patriots a little different defensively.
Good news is we don't have to play them again this year.
Until the playoffs.
Let's hope.
I'm going to give the defense 40% of the blame for the loss. Only 40.
Yeah, they could have made it a lot easier on themselves by
coming up with a
creating
big play.
that turnover. Yeah. Just that one turnover, that fumble.
It could have changed the game.
Yeah, definitely. But then you look offensively. We said the Pittsburgh Steelers, they want to score 30 points a game. Didn't do it again. And the New England defense didn't look that great to me.
Nope.
You've seen it. Pittsburgh drove right down the field, especially with D'Angelo Williams. He looked great in this game.
127 yards rushing. This dude averaged 6 yards a carry, and everybody said he was old and washed up.
Yeah, but they drove right down the field pretty much every drive and then just stalled out. And it's no surprise. You go back and look last season, this is the same thing I was complaining about all season with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're great between the 20s. They can go straight down the field, but they just can't get the ball in the end zone.
Well, what is it? Is it lack of ingenuity or...
It's lack of being able to run the football in short yardage situations. Last year, they were bad inside the 20. They were even worse inside the 10. When the Steelers get into that goal-to-go situation, it could be a lack of ingenuity. The reason why Martavis Bryant makes this such a different offense is because he can help us score outside of the red zone. We can get those big plays. When we get in there, Brown loses what he's great at, having space to get open. When there's only so much space, he can't find extra space to get open. You got Heath, who's good, but he's not quite as mobile as he was before.
Big game.
Other than that, I don't. There's just nobody that knows how to play in the red zone on our offense. It's as simple as that.
I don't know if it's as simple as that. It's definitely true, but I don't know if it's just that simple. Look at the first drive. They go down the field, hand the ball off to D'Angelo Williams. I think his first run was 17 yards or something, 18 yards on the very first play. The New England Patriots could not stop them on that first drive. So what do? They run a trick play to Antonio Brown where they throw to him, let him run to the middle of the field, and then look for receivers on the opposite side of the field and totally stall the entire drive.
Yeah, you never run those kind of plays when you don't have enough room for receivers to get separation. There just literally wasn't enough room. And the play blew up in their face.
I'm all for trick plays, but that one just looked ridiculous to me.
Then people are blaming Brown. I've heard this 47 because he didn't throw the ball away. Are you freaking kidding me? He's a wide receiver, people. Yeah, he probably should have thrown it away. But guess what? It's not his job to know that. They shouldn't have put him in that position. It was a stupid play call. Todd Haley, you're still garbage. I don't care what anybody says.
That's what it comes down to me, is Todd Haley. It has to be Todd Haley in this instance. Look, the offensive line played great. Cody Wallace, yeah, he let up a sack and had a 10-yard penalty. I don't care. He played okay. He was probably the worst on that offensive line. But the offense as a whole played well. Antonio Brown, he's Antonio Brown, again, has the 5 receptions for 50 yards, and that streak is getting a little ridiculous now. But he had 9 for 133 and a touchdown. Obviously, he looks good. Your run game looked great. Big Ben looked great, and you put up 21 points. Yeah, Heath looked great.
Darius Hayward-Bay. He's got more catches and yards already this year than he did all of last season.
I will say the one guy I wasn't happy with on this offense was Marcus Wheaton. I think he could have came up with 3 more catches. There was 3 balls I seen in his hands that he dropped every one. I mean, he did come up with a big play down the sidelines as well, a very nice catch. And really, I don't see this moving forward from him. I don't see him as a huge play guy, but I also think he is very sure-handed, and I don't see this moving forward. So I'm okay with Marcus Wheaton. He had a bad game. I think he'll be okay moving forward.
47, I think Hayward-Bay's got to make that catch in the end zone. I mean, I know he made it, but his foot was outside, on the out-of-bounds mark. How, as a veteran receiver of, 7-8 years he's been in this league, how does he make that mistake? Because that hurt. That hurt the Steelers bad.
Another mistake that could have cost them a win in this game. Look, they missed 2 field goals. We already mentioned that. The Hayward-Bay's foot out of bounds. They ended up getting a field goal there. So that's 4 points they lost out on right there. So there's 10 points total they lost out on. The refs made that bad call on Edelman. There's a touchdown. They run a draw on 3rd and goal from the 5-yard line. Do you remember that play?
You know
what the hell was that? That's Todd Haley.
Were they in no huddle then? Do you remember?
Probably were in no huddle.
I heard Ben say on Friday, I think it was, or Saturday, that the Patriots kept dropping 8 back and only leaving 3 guys up front, essentially daring the Steelers to run. But I agree, I didn't like the call. That's why he made the call. To me, if you want to run it there, you put in your big guys and you run it. I don't have a problem with running it.
Worst call.
I have no problem with running it, but in a goal-to-go situation, you don't run a draw play. Yeah. That's the worst.
I was just say, well, how about running a screen in that situation? Get your back into some open space, get some blockers up the field.
Listen, a draw is the worst thing.
Well, I don't like the draw play.
The running back sits in the backfield until Big Ben drops back and hands him the ball. He's not even moving forward, so he got to gain all his momentum after he grabs the ball. That's just putting your team in a horrible situation. Yep. And then the one other thing, like I said, the fumble that the Steelers could have recovered. So, I mean, there's 14 to 20 points here that are missing from the Steelers because of just a couple plays they could have made.
Do you guys agree we probably could have used no huddle a little more? And I'm not one of them Yinzer fans who says we need to use it all day, every day, but come on. The shootouts we've been in with Brady and the Patriots, I would have come out in it. Honestly, I'd have come right out and set the tone in the no huddle.
Well, especially because Ben plays so well in it.
Agreed.
He knows how to get the ball out to his receivers, and he's honestly...
He did have a horrible pass in this game. The pick, it was like 30 feet short.
I think Ben has a better grip on this offense than what Haley does, and I think he knows what his teammates do better than what Haley does. I don't care about all these stats that we racked up last year. Todd Haley is the biggest problem with the Steelers offense, and he has been since he's got here.
I just don't like the lack of progress in the red zone.
Yeah, at all. I mean, since he's been here, we have not gotten better. It's not like each year we keep getting a little better. No.
Listen,
we're getting worse, if anything.
NFL analysts always come out and say the Pittsburgh Steelers have an elite offense. Just look at what they did last year with all the yardage they had. Big Ben almost had 5,000 yards passing. Antonio Brown, over 1,600 yards receiving, something like that. Le'Veon Bell, one of the best running backs in the league. I'm not arguing with that last point. Antonio Brown's one of the best receivers. Le'Veon Bell, one of the best running backs. Big Ben, one of the best quarterbacks. Their offensive line looks good. This team has to put up more points and quit saying they're elite, because I don't give a crap about yardage. I do not care.
That's the thing. You could have 800 yards of offense during the game. But if at the end of the day, if you don't have more points than the other team, what really do you have to show for it?
Yeah,
exactly.
You're not an elite offense. And
we held the ball longer than the Patriots by almost 5 minutes.
Well, listen,
we outgained them by 100 yards. None of that matters.
No, well,
because
listen,
they scored more points. We even were basically almost even on third downs. We were 7 of 15, and they were 7 of 11. We played them very well for the skill players that we have, and we just couldn't get it done when it meant something.
Yeah, the Steelers had the best time of possession in the NFL last season, and they're showing it again this season. And why do they have that time of possession up so high? It's because they have the best players in the league. This offense should be able to explode, and Todd Haley, to me, it seems like he's holding them back.
I agree. I 100% agree.
And I mean, that time of possession, it does help the defense too, obviously.
We needed it to try to help keep Brady off the field. We said that in our pregame show. If we can keep Brady, 1 or 2 less drives, that'll give us a chance to win. And look, we held them under freaking 30 points, and we didn't win.
That's why I put it all on the offense.
Yeah, I'm saying 55% the offense, 5% Scobie, and 40 on the defense.
I just see nothing different from last season. The defense, they look bad most of the season, but they actually didn't let up the points to keep the Steelers out of the game. I mean, they kept the points down all season last year, enough for the offense to win games, and it's just the same thing to me. The offense just isn't scoring the points.
The last year's defense did exactly what New England's defense did in this game. They held them to 3, even though they gave up yards. And, the defense even did it this week. You hold them to 28, you should be able to beat the Patriots, especially
and that's why I see better things
Gillette
moving
Stadium.
forward. 28 points versus the Patriots. This might be their worst game all season, defensively.
Defensively, yeah, probably. I mean, it could get worse, but let's hope that it doesn't.
The quarterbacks I see moving forward, after the bye, you have Russell Wilson, Andrew Luck, and Peyton Manning. You got to worry a little bit after the bye.
Manning's garbage,
but yeah,
apparently.
Let's also look. The Baltimore Ravens, they look like crap. The Indianapolis Colts, they look like crap. The Denver Broncos, they look like crap. There's a lot of teams here that didn't look good in week 1, so don't panic. The Steelers, yeah, they didn't look good, but neither did a lot of these other potential elite teams.
Yeah.
Cincinnati, they're
leading the division.
Leading the division at 1-0. Cleveland, they look like crap, obviously. And Baltimore, like we said, they look like crap. Denver was able to pull out a win there. But I'm not worried at all at this point. I don't see much out there. If you can keep it with as bad as the Steelers played in this game, they kept it within 7 points of the defending champions.
Yep. It's offensive, man. It's all Todd Haley. I'm still putting these losses on Haley. If we're not averaging at least 28 points, I'll even give him 26. And I know we keep saying we want 30. Yes, we want 30. If the offense, not the team, the offense can't score at least 26 points a game this year, Haley should be fired at the end of the season. He should have been fired a long time ago, but we know they're not going to do it in the middle of the year.
I'll tell you what, we ran Bruce Arians out of town for a lot less.
Yeah, and now look, he's made Carson Palmer into a freaking Pro Bowler.
Let's not forget, we're going to still get Le'Veon Bell back and Martavis Bryant, so
definitely.
Things are going to get better. But, the way that the offense looked in between the 20s last game, it really didn't seem like missing Bell and Bryant really hurt them. It's the same crap they did last season with them.
Yeah, the only thing that'll change is they have the ability to make big plays, and that could, help us out a little bit. But we're looking ahead to next week. The Steelers are playing the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners are playing the Vikings tonight, so we don't really have much to say about them yet because we haven't seen them play.
We got the preview for that.
Yeah, we will be doing a Steelers preview show, so keep your eyes out for that. Anything else you want to say here, 47?
Score more points.
Who's your player of the game?
Big Ben?
Big Ben.
Him or Brown. Nobody on the defense deserves it, and Brown and Ben are the only reason we even stayed competitive. I know Heath had a good game,
Heath
but
Miller looked good. I think
Brown
I'm going to
had
give
the
it to
touchdown.
D'Angelo Williams, man. I wasn't expecting that big of a game.
I started him in fantasy.
I'd have to agree with J-Dash on that one. He got the job done. 127 yards, 21 carries, 6 yards a carry.
Yeah, no
Whose
touchdowns.
fault is that, though?
Got to run it in the end zone.
Believe it.
You got to take a 28-yard run to a 50-yard run and score, huh?
If there is a defensive player that deserves a player of the game, I'll give it to Shazier just for being all over the field.
It's so hard for me to say.
Yeah, he doesn't actually officially get a player of the game. That's just a shout out.
Mike Mitchell for causing a fumble?
People think we're going to freaking trade Mike Mitchell and a first-round pick for Cam Chancellor. Wake up, everybody. Nobody wants Mike Mitchell in a trade. It won't happen. Stop worrying about it.
Oh, yeah, Bud Dupree had a sack too, correct?
Yeah, I said that earlier.
Yeah, so maybe him. Why not give it to him? His first game, got a sack.
Young guy. He's freaking me out, that number 48 that he wears. I keep thinking freaking there's a safety blitzing or something. I don't like it. Change your number. But that's it. That's all we got for you in our first Steelers recap. Unfortunately, it didn't go the way Steeler fans wanted. Don't panic, fans. 0-1 isn't that big of a deal. I know we're like to beat New England.
Hey,
it just doesn't happen
real
very
quick,
often.
let me say this. The defense led up 27 points in Game 1 last season to the Cleveland Browns. They led up 28 to the Patriots this year. I see it as a win.
Please believe.
It's a good call.
But fans, if you have anything to say, good or bad, hit us up on Twitter at bet_the_spread. You can hit me up on Twitter at betjimthewin. Check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/betthespread. Keep coming back to the YouTube page. Keep clicking subscribe. I want to give a shout out to our Facebook group, Steelers Nation. Love you guys, 7,000 group members and counting.